XRP and Ripple don't need you. They couldn't care or give a flying F about you or me or any of the regular citizens that are holding XRP. It's not the point. It was never the plan. It's not why they created it, and it's not why it exists. It's not what it's going to be used for in the future. We have literally almost exclusively no part in it, except for maybe early on when Ripple was working with XRP Ledger to try to get some money to create their infrastructure. But if they needed money for the XRP Ledger or Ripple, the corporation, anything like that, they could have gotten it from the higher ups. I mean, they're all part of the elites, the system. They're backed by so much freaking money. Now that's not open on the books, but it's obvious when you look back and you see the plan that's been in place for decades. Back in the 80s, David Schwartz had his first patent on blockchain technology, and then since then they've gone out and created Bitcoin and released Bitcoin in like '08 or something like that, and then a few years later they came out and created the XRP Ledger, and they've mentioned that the XRP Ledger was created because they found flaws in Bitcoin and the fact that it's too slow to transfer, takes too much energy, costs too much per transaction. And so their original purpose for creating a one world currency for the future, their whole plan for that, they're still in place, but they had made a beta test coin, Bitcoin, and it's obviously done very well because they promoted it and pushed it and made everyone believe to be as like decentralized, like, oh, Satoshi is just some cool science wizard who like made his own currency and that gave us freedom from the government. That was never the purpose of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was created by the government, the CIA, NSA, and if you look at the overall plan, it makes sense. Like a lot of people that would hear that statement would get all up in a tuft and be like, oh no, like, you know, Bitcoin was created by this guy named Satoshi, and like, you know, he created it so that we have a decentralized currency that like, you know, separates us from all the banks, and like we can be our own bank, and like, you know, it'll only go up and Bitcoin's gonna be like the future of finance. Yeah, that's what they want you to think. That was the original plan. Bitcoin was their first attempt at making the new currency of the future currency. And when they failed, and when they saw that they failed, they realized it in a few years that it wasn't good enough. So then they went on to create the XRP ledger. And I want to stop you right there because half the people that watch this video, I'm certain, because I read all the YouTube comments, they'll immediately call bullshit. They'll immediately want to get on me about how like, oh yeah, XRP is some sort of shit coin, XRP is some sort of scam coin, it's never gone above $3.66. Who cares? You don't matter to them. You holding XRP and you holding 5,000 XRP, you holding 100,000 XRP, they don't care if you make money. You are not part of their plan. You were never part of their stratosphere. They couldn't give a flying F about you or me or anyone holding XRP. Now, they don't want as many of us holding on as possible when they finally are forced, their hand is forced to actually let the price of XRP take off. They don't want as many of us as possible as they can shake out right before, like cause the charts to do this, like all these world events, have all these things, have the economy suck so that like, you know, you and I have to sell just to pay our bills. Anything that they can do, they're gonna do to try to get you out because they don't care about you. Now, that doesn't mean we can't use Ripple and XRP to our advantage, which you sure as hell better try, because if you see the plan from start to finish, you'll understand cryptocurrency was created for one purpose. It was to create the new financial system. It was to create the elite's plan for a one world reserve currency. And you can look it up. One world reserve currency has been a plan. The Great Reset, the Great Financial Reset has been a plan for decades. It's not hidden. It's hidden in plain sight of anything. Just like the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger had to be made a public ledger, just like Bitcoin had to be made a public ledger Otherwise, the masses, when they go to adopt it, when the banks go to adopt it, they would have never accepted it. If they had just come out and the New World Order and the elites had just come out and said like, oh yeah, we have this new thing now and it's going to lead to digital ID and social credit scores, and we're going to be able to limit and pull back money and shut off your ability to spend and buy and sell, and we're going to issue carbon taxes, and we're going to limit how much carbon you use, and we're going to tokenize carbon usage, and so we're going to tokenize mileage on vehicles, and so we're going to be able to control and track and just beat whatever they want in your life. They'll just be able to flip a switch and shut you down. And that's their plan for the future. That's not going to happen in the next year or so, but that's their plan for the future. The beginning of that plan, and the only way that plan works, is if they've mastered and created a blockchain technology that can handle trillions of transactions per day. So they created Bitcoin. Bitcoin failed. Like, you know what? We can still use Bitcoin. We can use Bitcoin because we can allow and pump the markets of Bitcoin so that we have excellent exit liquidity by the time we need to pump it all through XRP. Because they do have a plan to pump all the markets into and through XRP at some point in time. And it's ready, willing, capable, already integrated into the infrastructure. So why? Think about it for a second. I'll let you do some critical thinking, because I have done over 1,000 hours of research into the XRP ledger and cryptocurrencies in general. And every time I look into another cryptocurrency, I look and see where not only they're not the plan, but I see them as just extras. Because if you understand that the CIA and the NSA decades ago was planning to create blockchain technology for this one purpose, they created the blockchain technologies. They created Bitcoin, and now nobody knows exactly who or what created Bitcoin, but it's definitely a group of people, and it was definitely, it had government intentions, because, obviously it's controlled opposition. They want you to believe, oh, that's decentralized currency. Like, I can buy Bitcoin, I can hold and own Bitcoin, and then it's mine. And then because of X and Y reasons, like, government can't touch me. It's not, none of that's even true. The fact that you have to pay on crypto gains from Bitcoin means that it is not decentralized. If it was decentralized, it would be like in its own little state, in its own little, like, they would have made it somewhere in some sort of state that doesn't allow you to like hold, or pay taxes on it or something like that. The fact that you have to pay on crypto gains to the US government means that it is not decentralized. Now, decentralized as far as we can get, yes, Bitcoin and XRP are quite decentralized. From JP Morgan, from Bank of America, from all that jazz. Yeah, it's decentralized. But it is not decentralized in the theory that people are like, oh, it's the people's money. It is not. Bitcoin or XRP or Ethereum or none of them were created for you. None of them were created for you or I. That's where everyone gets crypto wrong. I entered the crypto space 6 months ago, and I figured it out in a month that it wasn't meant for us. It was made public to us, the sheeple, because they had to make us believe that this was something that was going to be good for us. The carrot in front of the sheep, or carrot in front of the goat. I don't know, the carrot in front of the donkey. Donkey, yeah, can't even think of that, sorry. Carrot in front of the donkey method. Look, this is something that's for you, the people. And you can buy into it, and then price goes up and it beats inflation, and you're better off than holding the US dollar or yen or whatever, the euro. You're better off holding crypto, because even though there's bull and bear markets, like, it does go up and it does beat inflation, and at certain point in times, if you sell, you've done better than the US dollar, you've done better than the stock market. That's what they want you to think. Now, when they created Bitcoin, then when they created the XRP ledger, what do you think is going to happen? When you throw something out there on the open market, when you throw something out there, you're like, oh, I've got this new idea. I've got this, the TV. I've got a television, and you can show people images and videos on a screen in their home, and then it'll transmit. That was seen as an absolutely psychotic, crazy idea when it came out. But once the first TV was released, other people were like, okay, this is a thing. I'm gonna go off and make the TV better, or my own TV, or just copy that one and try to make money off of it because it's a thing right now. That's what happened when the government created Bitcoin and then the XRP ledger. That's what happened. They created these cryptocurrencies for their plan, and as a caveat, other brilliant people like the people at Ethereum, Solana, all those networks, and Cardano, like all these brilliant people that were just in the private sector were like, oh, we're gonna go do this too. They started making blockchain technologies. They started like, oh, like this is going to be Ethereum, and this one's going to do this and this, and this one's Solana, this is going to do this and this, and this is Cardano, this is going to do this and this. So the natural happenstance of the government doing some government things and doing something that was going to lead to their grand plan in the end, naturally there was copycats. And so those were made in the assumption that they're for you, because those kind of were made for you. They saw a product, they saw an opportunity. Like the leader of Cardano is obsessed, and his videos are always talking about like, oh yeah, it's decentralized, and this Clarity Act is just going to screw us in crypto because it takes away our freedom, it takes away the decentralization. Like the Clarity Act is just like, all these different rules and regulations on crypto that's going to take it away from us. That statement drives me nuts. Like he's so smart, but I think that he misses that level of conspiracy that would actually allow him to see, oh, it was never for us. It was never for you. It was never for me. It was never for you. But we can still take advantage of it knowing their plan. And I think that's why, honestly, in my humble opinion, that's why a lot of people have found it. A lot of people have been led to it. A lot of people have just randomly happened upon it. And this might be the video for you. You might have been chosen to hold XRP throughout this crazy world in the future, all the stuff that's going to happen in the future. You might have been chosen to see this video or to see videos, or I called my best friend from high school, and one day I just asked him like, hey, like how's business? And he goes, oh, business is shit for me. I was like, oh, same, business is shit for me too. And so he just randomly said like, oh, did you hear what happened to XRP? And I'm like, what the hell is XRP? What are you talking about? I didn't even know it was a cryptocurrency. What the hell is XRP? So after the phone conversation, I went onto YouTube and I was like, curiosity gets me. Like I like to go down rabbit holes and never come back. And so I've been down all the rabbit holes that you can, and it's like I'm fascinated by all that. But with cryptocurrency, I gotta admit, I still don't care about cryptocurrency. I'd be just as fine in life without knowing about cryptocurrency, but I'm not gonna miss this for my family because I see what their plan is, I see what they're gonna do, and I see what they're gonna utilize it for in the future. And I see that it is not only going to make people that hold XRP extremely wealthy, and by wealthy, I just mean more money than they had before. Not only is it gonna make them extremely wealthy, I think it's also going to allow us to bypass the beast system that they're going to implement in the future when they activate digital IDs, social credit scores, the ability to shut off your ability to buy or sell if they don't like what you say, if they don't like you. And I feel like they're going to utilize it to tokenize everything. This couch, this house, probably organs. You might have heard that there's organ harvesting going on where like, people are like on the verge of dying, and then like the hospital wants to pull the plug because like, they already sold their organs to some high-end buyer. And so like then the family comes in and they're like, oh my God, no, we don't want to pull the plug on him yet. And the hospital's like, sorry, we kind of have to pull the plug, and all these reasons and insurance and stuff like that, because they've already sold their organs and like promised this person that like, hey, yeah, for $6 million, you can have this liver. It's bad. But I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. Not important to go into right now, but they're going to be able to tokenize your organs. They can tokenize whatever they want. They're the new world order. They're the elites. They can do whatever they want. They can tokenize that plant. Who cares? But they're going to be able to tokenize everything in the future and run everything over blockchain ledger technology through XRP. Sorry, I forgot I had my favorite drink. Excelsior Imperial's Mango. My favorite drink. It's been my favorite drink for like over a year now. And I just keep going back to it. It's like my only drink right now. Yeah, nobody pays me to say anything about anyone, but you'll really like it, I think. It's got great neutral, good flavor, but it's not overwhelming, and it's got a solid alcohol content, 8.4%. I'm a real dude. I gotta take a minute just to say I like you. You're a human, you're a person, you have aspirations and dreams, you love people, you hope the best for some people, you've been through some garbage in your life, you've had horrible things happen to you. This is why this becomes so important. Now I get so mad when I see people that go on the comments on YouTube and they say like, oh, your video is too long. And I just saw that on like the Crypto Republic. That guy is an effing genius. Every single minute he's spitting out words, genius. And like he does so much research, it just flows out of him. And I feel like he can just shut his brain off. It just flows out of him. The Crypto Republic, fantastic guy. Love that guy. Just subscribed to him today, even though I've been following him forever. I realized I hadn't subscribed to him yet. That matters to him, to these influencers that they spend so much time research. And honestly, I think they're gonna go down as heroes because this is such an important event. If you miss this, this will likely be one of the last great things that happens financially for anyone. Yes, there will always still be the stock market, but imagine if they tokenize everything and AI comes out and they release AI, and imagine this, just assume this is true because it is. Everything that the government allowed you to see, they have 10 times more advanced. So when they show you that, when Elon Musk comes out and shows you the Tesla walking robots that walk similar to Joe Biden, they just kind of like do beep, 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 beep thing. They have robots 10 times as advanced as that. Do you think they're going to show that to you? Do you think they're going to share that to you? People are sheep, scared by anything, which is why none of you or half of you never look into anything past what beyond the local sports score was because you're too afraid to see what's out there. And I don't blame you. It's scary as hell. To know what I know, scary as hell. Now, after 10 years of knowing what I know, you come to terms with it and you stop being depressed about it and you move on in life. You're like, okay, I'm gonna live and enjoy every day of my life. Like today, I took my kids and my family to the fair. Had an amazing day. The best days of my life are at the fair. If I'm at the fair, that's the best day of my life. If I go to the fair again, best day of my life. Love the fair, love the people, love the food. Was playing bumper cars with my son. The machine for bumper cars, these fantastic events, like, the Funtastic, like that's the brand. They travel with these trailers from like the 1980s. And they're literally, the bumper cars were made in the 1980s. And I was like, man, I would have loved to live in the 80s. I was born in 88. I would have loved to live in the 80s. I was born the same year I think they patented blockchain technology, which is funny. But, sorry, I digress. But I mean, I love people, I love you, I want you to do well. So I just get so sick when people say videos are too long. Look, this is gonna be the most important event, or it could be the most important event in your life and for your family's life. Do this for your kids. Look, spend more than 15 minutes a day researching, like, what could be good for you and your family. I run into people all the time, and I've run into people my entire life, and I'm one of them. You go and you run into, they're complaining about money. They're complaining about their job. They're complaining about their income. They're complaining about never having enough money. I ran into this sweet girl at the gas station the other day, like 2 days ago, and I randomly tell people about XRP, but I didn't feel compelled to do that for her. I just didn't feel like she'd catch it, Like some people have a really sharp look in their eyes and some people are just nice and sweet. But like, I didn't decide to tell her at the time. I might tell her later, but it's hard to say it without sounding weird in person, Over a YouTube video, sure. Type in XRP, like, oh, what's XRP about? You can watch somebody talk for like an hour. Totally normal. But if you're in public at a gas station, you say, hey, have you heard about XRP? And you gotta spend 15 minutes explaining what the hell it is so that they'll hold it long enough so they don't sell it at $5 and screw themselves. Yeah, no, it's gonna take some time. But anyway, she was complaining about how she didn't have any money. She got her paycheck on Thursday and it's gone already. I can relate. We can all relate. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You're not out there saying everything's cheap. You're not out there saying that everything's affordable. So this kind of stuff is important. This kind of stuff is important for you to learn. And I've been compelled to make more videos because I made a video like 3 or 4 months ago. And it happened to be an hour long. I'm gonna try to keep this one to like maybe like 30, 35 minutes. But this is important stuff because you have a once in a lifetime opportunity coming to you. And all you have to do is go on to an exchange or Robinhood and type in XRP and click buy. And whether you buy 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000, doesn't matter. Making that decision to go and start doing that for your family, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, don't have a financial background. I have to say that because all the YouTubers have to say that because people are idiots. Oh my God. Think of how dumb you have to be as a population to literally have to make a disclaimer on a YouTube video. So somebody's typed in XRP, gone onto YouTube, listened to somebody talk about XRP for 15 minutes, bought XRP, went down 30%, and then they complained. That's why you have to make disclaimers. And let alone, they file lawsuits over shit like that. It's ridiculous. So don't be that person. Don't be this is not financial advice, but listen to it for what it is. Because I've done over 1,000 hours of research now, and I'm sick of reading all the FUD and having all these people that are going to miss it. I was reading comments today. People are like, XRP is never going to go above $4. XRP is never going to go back to $3. XRP is a shit coin. XRP is the worst altcoin. XRP is not an altcoin, okay? If by altcoin you mean it simply technically has less of a market cap than Bitcoin currently because they haven't released its true potential yet, then yes. It is an alternative coin to Bitcoin. But Bitcoin was a beta test coin. XRP is its sharper, like more handsome, younger, smarter brother that's going to ruin his life, and he knows it, and he's holding on to his power for dear life until there's an energy crisis, and then no one can afford to run Bitcoin anymore, and it just crashes. Or when they take Satoshi's wallet and they're like, move it, sell it, suckers, price crashes. Michael Saylor dives. Michael Saylor, his whole thing just crashes. Yes, that kind of stuff is going to happen. Now, I don't know how much of this is hard for you to believe, but I've seen it all, okay? A lot of you, if you catch this video, which I don't know how many people are going to catch this video, might only be like 50 people or 100 people like the last video, it's fine. You were chosen to see this. Now, you got to understand, XRP is the future banker's coin. It's been joked about as the banker's coin. They used to actually make fun of it as the banker's coin. Like, oh yeah, we have this decentralized currency and that one's for banks. Why would you make fun of that? Like, it'd be like, oh, I've got this coin that's going to be worth $1,000 one day because it needs to be transacted by banks, and suckers. Like, what? Yeah, just because banks are going to use it and it's for banks and not for us doesn't mean it's not something valuable that you can go and purchase today before they release it. Now, let's talk about charts, because charts are one of the most painful things to watch in crypto. If you don't understand that crypto is the future of finance. Now, why is crypto the future of finance? It's faster, it's cheaper to use. The XRP ledger hasn't had an error in billions of transactions. It's the obvious choice of the future. Because what's the alternative? Swift? Swift has been around for like 80 years, and it can take 2 to 3 days to do a large transaction, and it can cost thousands of dollars. Like, that is ridiculous. You can send, I heard somebody sent like 50 million XRP business to business, took 20 seconds, and it cost like $100. That's how powerful XRP is for global trade and transfers and all that stuff. And that's also why they'll be able to convince the population and the institutions that this is good for you. This is good for you. You're going to be able to go on X when they release X money, and you're going to be able to transfer $50 to your friend without Zelle, without Venmo, without all the bullshit, without any sort of security threats, without any sort of worry about being hacked. You'll be able to find their profile, click on them, send them $50. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be promoted as something good for you. It's going to be promoted as something good for us. It's going to be something promoted as like great for the population. And there's going to be some sort of crisis in the next month or so that they're going to allow, like, that crisis, whatever it is pre-planned. It's all pre-planned. If you look into it, it's all pre-planned. You can see stuff happening in advance that the XRP Riddlers have talked about 3-4 years ago. You're like, okay, well, the Riddler knew this was going to happen today. Like with the Strait of Hormuz, like there was some sort of riddle where it was an image of the Iranian flag and the oil rigs, and then the date that they posted that 2 or 3 years ago was like the same week that the Strait of Hormuz closed. So you can go down the rabbit holes, and you don't even have to understand, like nobody understands why people know these things. Nobody understands why, but you can see enough evidence to realize, okay, there are plans in place. people have been told what day and what time things are going to happen, and they're trying to let people know, or they're trying to mock us by putting it in plain sight and hiding it with these riddles and be like, oh, look, we've done all this thing, and like, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, let's see if they catch it. Let's see if 5 of them catch it, because they see us as sheep, and they should. 80% of you are. But they make these riddles so that, you'll kind of like look into it and be like, oh, it's fascinating. But like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to believe all that. Well, I mean, if like most of the stuff that they post leads to something that the people out there spending all their time decoding these things can be like, oh, on this day this happened and this was the timestamp and this matches up from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, it's happening. Okay, there are people that know things about the future. It doesn't mean they're time travelers per se. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But like it doesn't mean they're time travelers per se, but it does mean that there is a plan. Now, if you understand that XRP and Ripple Ledger has been planned for decades, that makes perfect sense. But if you don't believe that, because you haven't done enough research, because you're lazy, I'm lazy too. This is not me against you. I care about you. I want you to do well. I want your family to be safe. I want your family to be healthy, happy, live a great life. That's all I want. So that's the purpose of these videos. But don't be lazy when it comes to your family's future. Like if you're sitting there right now and you had a long day at work and you're tired and you're watching this video and you're like, you mentally are like, okay, like this video is dragging on. I'm not used to watching videos this long. I want to click stop now and I want to like go back to my happy little life of not knowing anything about it and just like move on, be like, okay, whatever, like I'll just buy 10 of this coin, 10 of that coin, whatever. Stop it. For your family's sake, for your sake. If it's just you, for your sake, stop that mentality. I stopped that mentality 6 months ago. I should have looked into this stuff 5 years ago, because if I had looked into it 5 years ago, I could have been buying XRP at 20 cents. And hell, if I had looked into this 5 years ago, I probably would have been buying Bitcoin at the same time, because it still had a time to run. And don't get me wrong, Bitcoin's still going to go up. Bitcoin's still going to be part of it. And then when they allow like the great global crash and the great global reset, Bitcoin will probably die at that point in time, and it'll probably rise again on top of the XRP ledger, not because XRP's like, some sort of conspiracy, simply because XRP's ledger is the only one that can handle actually being transacted. That's why they'll move it, and it's also quantum proof. So Bitcoin's not quantum proof right now. That's a big topic. So when they move things to the XRP ledger, everything's going to run across with it. So another thing that drives me nuts is people talk about how, it's so funny, there's a BTCC notification. But let's talk about charts, okay? The charts look horrible. The charts look horrible and everything. They have tried to convince you that we are in a bear market, okay? And now don't get me wrong, the last 6 months, when I got in, we've been in nothing but a bear market. That's okay. Crypto markets have bull markets, bear markets, all that jazz. They have tried to convince you that we're still going to be in a bear market for like the next 6 months to a year. They are trying to convince you that this next run over the next few weeks is going to be a bull trap, and that it is going to just drop and leave your short positions open. Like, leave your short positions open. Yeah, it's going to be like a bull trap, and it's going to continue downwards, because look at all these charts from the past. Look at these 4-year cycles from the past. Look at these things that we've made very predictable so that you'll think that it's going to keep doing it. Crypto's been around for like a 13, 14, 15 years. So in those 15 years, you see like there's like a business cycle where every 4 years crypto goes up, and then like there's bear markets. Like, okay, that's fine, but are you gonna bank on that when their plan is to literally force XRP's price to go upwards? So when you're watching these charts and you say, okay, Bitcoin had its day, went up to 126 grand. That's fantastic. Ethereum had its day, went up to like $3,900 or whatever it went to. That's fantastic. XRP hasn't had its day yet. I mean, because they don't need to do anything with it yet. They don't care about you. Get that through your thick skull. Nothing in the charts is for retail. Nothing in the charts is for you. Nothing in the charts is for me. None of them, and if anything, it benefits them for you to think and for you to come to the simple conclusion in your head after your 4 hours of research over the period of 5 years. Your simple conclusion that like, oh, XRP's chart is dead and is never going to do anything. That is their hope, that you believe that. So by the time they allow the price to skyrocket away from its current stablecoin price of like $1.43, which is kind of hilarious, because you look at it as Bitcoin's at like 70,000, Ethereum's at like 30,000, or sorry, Ethereum's at like 2,300 right now, and then you got like Solana at like 89, and then you have BNB at like 600, you know, which, I mean, fuck Binance, but he's part of the plan. And then you have, you know, like XRP at like $1.43, and then it's sandwiched in between two stable coins at $1. It's like, some days you feel like it might be better just to hold stable coins and get yield. That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to believe. And you want to know what? For the most people, honestly, genuinely, for people that haven't made it this far in the video, whoever hasn't made it this far in the video, that's what I'm talking about. So if you've made it this far in the video, it's safe to say you're likely smarter than that. You're likely on to them a little bit, and you're likely vibing with some of the things that I'm saying, and you're understanding that I'm talking about big picture, and I'm not talking about like the charts today. Because if you want to go on right now on YouTube and click XRP, you can find 100 videos about the charts. You can find 100 videos about the Clarity Act. You can find 100 videos about the Strait of Hormuz. But if you want to actually know what the grand scheme plan is, that's why I'm making this video. So please continue from here, because the first part of this video, you know, very important stuff, but let me tell you a little bit more advanced. So they plan to tokenize the world. And what they mean by that is that essentially, you know, keep it simple, take this couch per se. Let's say the couch is worth a couple $1,000s. They'll be able to make a couch token for this couch, and then you'll be able to go online and you'll be able to buy one of this couch token, and then you'll own like, you know, 1% of that couch. And so let's say out of 100%, $2,000, is that $20 for the token? What that price would be? So you would be like 1% owner of this couch. Now that's probably not going to happen in the sense of like people buying other people's couches and percentages of their couches, but you get the gist. It's an object, it's an item, it's an asset. It's you know, that's how tokenization is going to work. They're going to be able to do it to artwork. They're going to be able to do it to the rainforest. They're going to be able to do it to, you know, I think people's, you know, organs of the future. The reason I keep bringing that up is because I think that's an important thing to note, that it's not just going to be houses, real estate, cars. It's not just going to be just the traditional. So when people talk about XRP and the market cap, drives me batshit crazy, because they're like, oh, in order for XRP to be, you know, like $1,000 a coin, it would have to have like a $30 trillion market cap. That is relatively true, but that's not what's going to cause the price of XRP to skyrocket. Now, if you understand that XRP, there's 100 billion tokens. Now, why would you create 100 billion tokens? That's a lot of tokens. Why would you create 100 billion tokens, especially if this is your second attempt after the beta test, Bitcoin? This is your second attempt. Okay, Bitcoin has 20 million coins now. They just minted like the 20 millionth Bitcoin like a month ago. What do you think they realized was wrong with the amount of Bitcoin when they made it, and then changed their mind and thought, we need 100 billion tokens? So let's assume I'm right, and that Bitcoin has 20 million tokens, XRP has 100 billion tokens. Let's look big picture here. From that, for the people that created that Bitcoin, had 20 million tokens, with a grand scheme to have a total of 21 million tokens. It's not a lot. And then a few years later, they come out with the XRP ledger and they're like, okay, just to be safe, let's make 100 billion. Why would you make 100 billion? Okay, I'll answer that for you. Because they're going to run the global economy on one ledger system. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, but this was not a plan for you. This was not a plan for your neighbor. This was not a plan for the smartest person you know. This was a plan for the elites to be able to have one more arrow in their quiver to try to control all of us. That's fine. That's their plan. That's their scheme. That's what they're doing. So if you look at it from that lens and through that lens of understanding, like, okay, this is not just some sort of random technology that came out to be decentralized and cool and hip and like be like, oh yeah, look at this, and like you can have your own money, you can have your own bank. This was not for that. That's how a lot of people have spun it, but that is not what it is for. So when they come out and they're like, okay, we need 100 billion tokens for this bitch, that's because they're calculating in their head. They already had the smartest people in the world. And by smartest people in the world, I mean people that might not even be just regular people, like, you know, take that with what you will. The smartest people on the planet, smartest entities on the planet have sat down and calculated, okay, 100 billion tokens will do it. Why? If XRP goes to $10,000 a coin, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's ridiculous. I'll get to that. Just shut up. So if XRP was $10,000 a coin and there was 100 billion coins, they'd be able to handle quadrillions of transactions. Now, you've got to understand, okay, how does the coin get to that level? How does the coin that's $1.43 today with 100 billion tokens available, how does that get to 1,000, let alone $10,000 a coin, let alone $50,000 a coin in the future? Well, for one thing, you have to understand that they're going to run out. It was always planned for them to run out. How do you know it was planned to run out? Because they need it to run out. Look, you've got this plan by the New World Order elites, whatever that means to you. They're trillionaires. So these people that run this, operation here where they're like, okay, we want to have a one world currency. If they wanted to right now, which wouldn't behoove them because it would expose them, they could just send one of their Rothschilds out and just be like, go cut a check and buy the rest of the XRP. Boom, you've run out. Now, they're not going to do that because they're not going to expose themselves in that way. Yes, they could cut a check for $10 billion and buy the remaining XRP that's remaining on like Coinbase, Kraken, Robinhood. They could wipe it out with like their lunch budget. Okay, that's how wealthy these people are because they've been running the world for centuries. Okay, centuries. So they know what they're doing. They know how to avoid us finding out what's 95% of us. They know how to avoid 95% of us truly finding out what their plan is, which is why I'm making this video, because I've seen it all. And you've got to understand that if you can get past that surface level doubt, that surface level inability to like see what their plan is and that they are that powerful. Sorry, that light was just bothering me. If you can get past that surface level bullshit mindset that you have, where you're like, I'm only gonna believe that the world is what it is and life is what it is, and when I go to Starbucks, they're not some sort of evil global conglomerate corporation, they just make coffee, like, and McDonald's, only sells real beef. Like, if you want to go down that path, it's literally like the movie The Matrix. When you offer that one guy, they say, like, you can take the blue pill or the red pill. I forget which is which, but the guy chooses to take the one that's ignorance because he says ignorance is bliss. And he says it like with a big smile on his face. That's what I think of when I read all those comments. When I read all the comments on YouTube and people are talking about, oh my gosh, XRP is a shitcoin, is never going to go to $5. Like maybe in 2023 or 2223 is going to go up to like $5 again. Or $5 in general. It's absolutely asinine and obnoxious because I know that category of people has not done more than 10 hours of research. They spend more time researching NBA stats than they do their financial future. And don't get me wrong, I had done that as well. Not NBA stats, but I had wasted so much of my time not researching or even investigating the potential of what crypto was that I completely missed a lot of the early opportunities. But that doesn't mean you're too late. You still have an opportunity to go onto your computer today, click Coinbase, and buy 1XRP or whatever it is. Say 1XRP just for metaphor. But you still have the ability to go onto Coinbase, click buy XRP, and however much XRP that you decide to buy, if you buy it, like you still have the opportunity to do that. Now, that won't be the case a year or two from now. When they run out and banks need it, you're not going to be able to afford it. I'm sorry. Like, and if you are a multimillionaire right now and you do happen to catch this video at random, like, yeah, you might be able to afford it, but you'll have missed it. So don't be that person that misses this once in a lifetime opportunity just because you're unwilling to believe that the world is not what you think it is. The world is not normal. The world is not designed for you. It's designed for the elites. And everything that they do tries to make them more wealthy and powerful. And this is going to be the one opportunity in life in which we use their system against them and we win. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean we win the overall war. That doesn't mean we win the overall, world. It doesn't mean that, everything just goes to roses and champagne and rainbows and that nobody ever fights wars again. It just means that we'll have won based on our lives being wildly changed, and our ability to help others in life will be wildly changed because we saw their plan and we used it against them. So, in the end, the whole plan, start to finish, simply put, you gotta understand, XRP was created by the government decades ago. Now, they released it, the XRP ledger, in 2013 or 2012 or whatever, after their beta test coin in 2008. And then since then, they have pumped Bitcoin through the roof by going on to talk shows and having people like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, who's one of the elites, having him go on there and say oh yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're going to be the future and all this other stuff, when that's complete horseshit. They know it's not true. One time, Kevin O'Leary was on there. He was on some sort of talk show, and he says oh yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, and then he stops because he knows he's not supposed to say XRP yet. They're not supposed to talk about it yet. Ripple has 1,700 NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, with so many institutions and governments across the world. Yes, they're not supposed to talk about it yet. And when one of Trump's cabinet members mentioned XRP a few months ago, Trump got furious because it's not supposed to be talked about yet, because it is the end game. It is the end plan. So when they allow the financial crisis and the financial crash and the great global reset to happen, XRP will become the new system. It'll be forced to be adopted, and they'll be we need this, or World War III is going to happen. So they're going to be okay, we need to switch to this. We need to have this liquidity. We need to have this new system. And then we can use this system and leverage this system to, wipe out these debts and neutralize everything. And then everyone will be happy for a time. That's how they're going to implement it. Now, when that happens, whoever's holding XRP will be an instant millionaire. And now I want to add this as a small caveat. Don't look at this as some sort of shitty side video that is simply trying to elude random people into buying XRP for my benefit or because I want to make money. Look, you got to understand, I already have XRP, okay? So I don't care. I do care that you and your family make it through this next period of trials over the next decade as they change everything in the world. They change how everything's run. They change, and AI comes and takes 25% of the jobs. And then these 25% of people that are now unemployed have to figure out what to do and how to make money and all this other stuff. Then they try to switch them over to a universal basic income, which will, people will be diving on because we're there's no jobs. So they're going to be diving on the universal basic income. They're going to be paid X amount through stable coins. And then when they don't like what they say, they'll be able to take their stable coins back. The government will. They'll take the stable coins back and be you can't buy or sell right now because we don't like what you said. Till you go through this, indoctrination to learn how we want you to think. like you can't have your money back. You can't buy or sell. So either learn how we think and act like it, or starve. And that is like long-term plan. So I don't think that's going to happen next year, but like, I mean, that's long-term plan, like Agenda 2030, like you can look it up. But long story short, more importantly than becoming a millionaire, a lot of people like, they love money. More important than becoming a millionaire, holding XRP will give you a piece of the new financial infrastructure for the new world order and the new one world reserve currency. Holding XRP, because XRP can't be clawed back. That's a term that just means that like no one can take it from you. Now, stable coins can be clawed back for safety, so they can claw back RLUSD, they can claw back USDT, they can claw back USDC. Now, what's that going to mean 5-10 years from now? It's going to mean if they don't like you, they don't like what you stand for, they don't like what you say, they don't like your religion, your belief, they can simply flip a switch, claw back your money, and you're effed unless you hold food, farm, power sources, solar panels, whatever, physical gold and silver, stuff like that. Whole nother topic for a whole nother video. But please do not be caught in that trap of when they make this switch and they make this great reset, this financial great reset, when they reset the financial system, please do not miss that because you were too lazy to research a little bit more for your family and be sure that understand XRP is the chosen coin, the coin that they chose because it's the only one that can handle the tokenization of the entire world. And if you look into it, there's not a close second. There's a reason that they attached Solana to XRP recently, because Solana was failing, okay? Solana was still believed in by a lot. Solana was still pushed by a lot because it was one of the top 3 coins. So they were allowed to push Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana because they want as much exit liquidity as they can for when they make this shift and they flip the switch and they say, okay, like XRP is the coin, the Clarity Act passes, all this other stuff. When that happens and they have this global event, then all of the liquidity from Bitcoin being pumped and the NASDAQ, S&P 500 being pumped and like Ethereum, Solana, all that liquidity is going to be funneled into XRP. I know that sounds crazy, but if you've done as much research as I have, you can see the picture clear as day. And the more research I've done, the more clear the pictures become. You have this piece connecting to this piece, this system connecting to that system, this process connecting to this process, and you have all of these events that are connecting. You're like, okay, they did this because of this happened because of this, and they created the first blockchain patent in 1988, and then they created Bitcoin, and then when that wasn't going to work for what they needed it to, they created XRP Ledger, and since then they've just suppressed the price of XRP so that you believe that it's going to die. So when they finally delete all 99% of cryptos and they run things on like 10 coins and XRP is the king, you'll probably be watching the NBA finals, Final Four, something like that. And you'll be rooting them on rather than rooting yourself on, which is what you should be doing right now. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that you can catch. If you miss it, I'm sorry, but I've made multiple videos now. I'm going to continue to make a few more videos before it happens, but I'm going to try to make as many videos as I can just to try to catch a few more good, honest people that just want to survive. And this is one of the best ways that I have learned how. Thank you.